Ihr hört einen Podcast vom Future of Festivals, das Branchentreffen für alle VeranstalterInnen, Dienstleistende, EntscheiderInnen und Auszubildenden aus dem Festivalbereich. Die nächste Ausgabe findet von Donnerstag, den 27. bis Freitag, den 28. November 2025 in der Station Berlin statt. Die folgende Aufzeichnung ist aus dem Jahre 2024 von dem Diskussionspanel mit dem Namen
Unveiling the Balkans.
Viel Spaß beim Zuhören. Mehr Informationen und Tickets findest du unter www.futureoffestivals.com.
How you can actually find out how the Balkans festivals are growing and the potential that is in there. It is getting louder. People are passing by. It will be much easier for you to listen if you get some of the headphones. Also, if you want to walk around and still listen, you can also take them and listen to them. You can listen to both stages. And I'm going to say it again for everybody's passing. This talk is about festivals in the Balkan. Put a seatbelt on. It's going to be amazing. We have a great panel here. The panel is going to be moderated by Ruth Koleva. She is Woman of the Year by the Grazia magazine. She's Forbes 30 under 30. She is the best jazz vocalist at the JAG Awards in Japan. She founded the Sofia Festival in 2019. She had 8,000 visitors for the first time, and she's also doing a lot of activities on the equality of LGBTQ. She was playing at the Sofia Pride. So let's set the stage and give the mic to everybody who's coming, to Jaska, Kodruca, and Ivan, and most of all, Ruth Koleva, who's gonna set the tone. Thank you so much. Applause and have fun.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah? I'm hearable.
A ne, drugi će su nas postaviti. Rekao je gazda da ja sjedim tu.
So pleasure to have you all here. We will have a short introduction to all the panelists. Before we do that, there is a presentation that I want to show you in regards to the to what the region is and where we're heading, right? So, guessing from the starting of the panel, not many of you have ever been there, not know much. Am I right? Right? Okay. So the Balkan region, we prefer to call it Southeast Europe, not Eastern Europe, because Eastern Europe is kind of a very wide term. Just to kind of give you a comparison, Poland, which is also considered Eastern Europe, is much closer to Berlin than it is to, Bulgaria or to Greece. So our region, the Balkan Peninsula, covers the countries Romania, Greece, Bulgaria, the European part of Turkey, Serbia, Bosnia, North Macedonia, Albania, Montenegro, Croatia, and presumably also Slovenia, but that's kind of the am I missing something? Did I miss a country? There's a lot of countries. Many similarities between many of the countries, linguistical, cultural, historical, and also the fact that we were part of the communist regime, which, to underline, has ended 6 years ago, so it's been a while. So our population is of about 65 million people. You can make a comparison based on Germany's population or the UK. It is not a small market. It's quite, packed up and commutable. So from, for example, Sofia, you will see a little bit in the presentation, you can reach like Istanbul for 4.5 hours, Belgrade for 3.5 hours. Skopje for around 3-something hours, Bucharest for 4 hours, Thessaloniki, which is the second largest city in Greece. So it's quite, well connected in that sense. These are some of the bigger festivals in the region and the official statistics that I have for them. Untold Festival, which is in Romania, Exit Festival, which we have Ivan to represent here, Sunny Hill, which is in Kosovo, In Music Festival, which is in Croatia. They're all above the 100,000 people mark. There are more festivals in the region above that mark, including Electric Castle, which is also in Romania, Release Athens, which is in Greece. So you can see, we might be segmented, we might be a bit more, these are festivals in different countries, but they are part of one region which is now starting to establish itself as a whole. Cultural diversity and audience engagement. The main thing about, let's say, the Balkans as a region is that people are very eager to listen to music. Historically, before '89, there wasn't many Western artists, and then in the '90s, because of war in the Western Balkans, the political instability, there wasn't many concerts happening. So if you say, for example, what's going on the last few years, where audiences at festivals rather be sort of active participants than just passive consumers, in the Balkans, there are still very much, there for the artists, there for listening to the music and engaging with the music. So in terms of audience, which is very diverse, people love all different types of genres. There isn't one specific genre that really thrives in the Balkans. People have internet, they have TikTok, they have Spotify, so they are listening to all the music that people are listening to everywhere else in the world, and they're consuming that music. So in a very, positive sense, the audience is very engaged with the artists that go there. In recent years, we've seen massive growth of investments from the recording industry, which, it is very much connected to the live industry as well. They've been establishing major label offices within the Balkan region. And if you see the IFPI global report for last year, Bulgaria is the biggest jump for the year, which is 40-something% rise in revenue in the recording industry. You can only, compare if the recording industry, which is a much smaller segment, what the live music industry is sort of bringing to the table. Just to give you a bit of overview in the recording market, you can see Bulgaria's recording music art market is 17 million, close to 17 million, 44% growth for 2023, 24.5% in 2022. Streaming brings 10 million, so that's the paid, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all that. Turkey, which I want to stress again, it is part of the Balkan region. It's not part of the European Union and not part of the Schengen zone. But as I said earlier, Sofia, Istanbul is just 5-hour drive. So when we're talking about routing and touring, it's very much relevant. It's a very big market. Croatia has a market size of 20 million as well for the recording industry. So these are actual numbers. Copyright society, CMOs are quite functional in all the territories, and much in the whole music ecosystem is quite stable. Touring, as I mentioned, if you want to take a screenshot, some of you who do any sort of planning, routing, this is important, some important information. You can see the distance between cities and how small they actually are, because all of these are sort of either capitals or big major cities. Istanbul, Budapest, Athens, Belgrade, Tirana, Bucharest, Pristina, Skopje, Istanbul, Thessaloniki, of course you have Ljubljana, Zagreb, and many more from the coastal line on the Adriatic where concerts are being made. Very important point, costs. So if you're talking about touring of artists and promoting shows, the costs for the band are lower. So middle and small bands can still make money in our market. So rental cost for a standard van is between 50 to 70 euros a day, depending, of course, on the country. And, Western Europe is 100 to 150. Then backline equipment is 20 to 40% lower in pricing than it is in Western Europe. Fuel costs, in the Balkans you have the petrol cost from €1.15 to €1.45. Western Europe is 150 to 170. Food prices, again, meals can be decent meal in a lower, cheaper restaurant could be €5-6. Western Europe is kind of double. Accommodation, hostel in North Macedonia or Bosnia can be €8 or €10, while it's almost triple anywhere else in Europe. And that's about it for this part. I just wanted to make an introduction to give you a bit of a sense how things stand. Of course, the economic position also creates some sort of challenges, but we'll get to that later. I would like to start with presenting our other lady in the panel, Kudruta, from Romania, from Art Mania Festival. Could you please tell us what you do, for how long you've been doing it, and what's your background?
Hello, I'm coming from Romania. We do one of the oldest festivals there, Art Mania, which next year will be 18th edition and 20 years since it was launched. But we are specialized in large-scale events and did large-scale events in Timișoara, European Capital of Culture, the Pope visit, and I'm also the president of the Romanian Promoters Association, so I can speak somehow from the market's perspective and especially the festival's perspective.
Thank you so much. Ivan Petrovic from Exit Festival. Ivan, you've been around also. Exit Festival is one of the first major festivals in the Balkan region. Could you tell us more about what you do?
In the Exit team, basically, my main, let's say, roles are relationship with the key stakeholders, with government institutions, big sponsors, also like some strategy and policy of the festival, and I'm also running the Exit Foundation as a socially responsible part of the Exit, which is very known to be one of those very few major festivals which started not as a commercial project, but started as a student movement back then in 2000.
Thank you, Ivan. Jaksa Boric from Kupole, could you please tell us what you do? He's a part of the expo, so you can see their work here as well.
And I'm uniformed, So yes, we manufacture geodesic dome tents and stage covers and glamping tents. So obviously, music festivals are not our only market, but they make a significant part of our business portfolio. That's like in short.
It's good to have not only festivals or the promoters on our side, because being at an event like this, of course, there's such an amazing startups and companies, and it's good to have one from our region to showcase that we're also kind of advancing in that sense as well.
It's my pleasure.
My first question would be to Ivan, because yes, we wanted to address the challenges and opportunities, but let's start about the opportunities, right? You just launched a new project called Creative Gate. Could you please tell us what is it about and how that addresses the region as a whole, and why is it happening?
Thank you, Ruth. Creative Gate project is something that we envision and dream for many years. We are aware of that Balkan because it is as you probably know, a synonym for the permanent crisis and conflicts during the history, which was a minus basically for the region for the most of the period. But now in times of creative economy and turbulent changes in the world, you see how from pandemia to today everything turn around, and it's going to continue to do it even in a faster way. So we see that there is a huge creative potential in the region, because all these conflicts and shifts and problems basically make people super creative in order to survive. Generations develop this sense of, we call it snalažljivost on Serbian, or to be creative, and that's a key key ingredient of the creative industry, it is the people, the creative class. So by some research that I've done recently, I'm talking about now about Serbia, this sector of creative industries, which is, I can just remind you, it's like 12 disciplines from music and festivals, movies, film industry, design, architecture, advertising, gaming, crafts, and media, electronic media, and I probably missed some of them. Basically, it's creative industries, let's say the most simple way, wherever creativity meets business, like exploitation of creativity and arts in business sense. So in all these areas, like we are having booming sector, which is probably having the greatest growth rate among any other discipline in the economy. And it is, what is the beauty of it? It is all booming organically, because our state and probably all others are not aware of potential creative industries. So there are no any, let's say, incentives or policy to support the young talents. It is just growing on raw talent of the people, and it's already 7 to 8% of the GDP in total, and it is around 130,000 people working in that field in country of 6 or 7 million, so it's significant, and it's growing 8 to 10% per year. So that's why, and we see it also in the neighboring country, we created this Creative Gate platform where all players in the creative industry sector, from music to gaming, can register with the three main goals. One of it is this vision of Balkans as a creative digital heaven, that we want to envision that we have all what is needed to be one of the top creative region in the world in the years to come. The second one is to network the all players and to cooperate among ourselves. And the third goal is to have one voice and to basically advocate for the better policies, for the better environment in our country, so in the region.
Thank you so much. The one thing I wanted to address, and I think I totally, and I told you earlier, I completely agree, is that our region, because of we don't have export offices, like we don't have a lot of the tools that Western Europe has. So the mentality of people working within the music industry is like very survival driven. So many people learn to do many other things in order to be, to sustain their business. So Yaksa, just wanted to ask, how is it to run a business within, we're not talking about festivals, but within the creative industries in the Balkan region, and how effective you are, and like, honestly, do you see the level of professionalism in the production sense within our region to be equal, to, for example, Western Europe, with the less resources we might have?
Well, I mean, in the past 20 years or so, there's been huge development in the region. Most of the countries in the region are now either EU members or on their way to the EU. So we have kind of built up infrastructure which wasn't there before in terms of traffic, economics. We also have lots of institutions and networks that help creative industries to develop. And of course, we still face some of the challenges, such as one half of the region is still not in the EU, and it's geographically very inconvenient because Serbia, Bosnia, and Montenegro, they kind of cut the region in half, and that makes traffic of goods and services kind of difficult. But I hope it will get resolved in the future. And of course, I mean, it's probably more challenging to exist in the creative industry within the Balkan region than it is in the Western Europe. But then again, there is also so many opportunities because there is so many niches that are still untouched, you know, and practically all of the countries of the region are, so to speak, nature rich. We all have like breathtaking venues and locations, which is hugely exploited in the past couple of years. We have like in Croatia specifically, we became a kind of a festival venue for import spin-offs, so to speak, because we have festivals that are such as Dimensions and Outlook. I don't know if you heard about them, but these are festivals that take place in Croatia, but they're created and marketed exclusively for the UK audience. So you have like I don't know, 10 or 15,000 people visiting the festival in Croatia, and 95 or 98% of them are British people. We also have Exit is doing Sea Star in Croatia, which is kind of a spin-off from the Exit Festival, and there is many examples like that, which is good, which brings like new blood, new ideas to the field.
Absolutely. One thing I do believe myself is that costs for and we also talk about costs for certain things are lower, but then our economic status, for example, it's not the same. And I want to ask you, Kudruca, because we did discuss this a while ago, what a challenge it is for our region currently, the super high fees of artists. And not only that, for us, for example, it's super challenging to address sustainability policies because being sustainable is actually not very cheap as well. So could you elaborate on your vision on that?
Yeah, unfortunately, the artist fees are not lower in the East compared to the West. So I think that at least now, but maybe it's also similar to the West, we reached the level where we top the maximum of artist fees that can be paid, especially with the increase of the production costs, of the personal costs. At least Romania, as it can be seen at this point, will face a big economical crisis soon, so people will have less money to spend. At the same time, there's a big advantage for the region, Romania and Bulgaria included, is that from 1st of January you are in Schengen area. So I believe there will be a big boost in touring because there won't be any more border crosses checks between Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, which will ease.
And Greece also.
Yeah, but it will practically ease the whole touring process. I believe that nowadays, at least on how Romania looks in these particular days, and I want to stress it out, and the big problem for the region is a very, very strong interference of Russia, which more or less tries to drag all the region back to the 35 years ago, which I believe it's the role of festivals to stand as much as possible against. And one reality which we, for example, in the Promoters Association have realized to start to have a dialogue also to the rest of the society who's not part of Western festival culture, because we realize there's a complete split between the younger generation who goes to festivals and the part of the society who sees the new developments not necessarily good. And I think this, in the months and years to come, will be probably the biggest threat to the East, unless we as a society, but also Europe, doesn't wake up very fast.
I think that this is thank you so much. I think this is a general problem within Europe as a whole, because we see this polarized feelings. But contrary to, to this, I'm also hopeful that Europe will wake up. One thing I wanted to note is, I don't know how many of you know about how safe the Balkans are. And I'm just going to give example with a couple of countries, with a couple of cities, sorry. So Bucharest and Sofia are in the top 15. I don't have data for Belgrade, but I know Zagreb is the 6th safest city in Europe, and Ljubljana is the 5th safest city in Europe. So just pointing it out, because for businesses who want to invest in do work in the region, this is something I think of great importance. Jaksa, could you please tell me, it's something we know it's happening in Serbia and also in Romania and Bulgaria. There's a lot of outsourcing. So even some of the companies that I met here at the expo are manufacturing some of their products in our region because of cost effectiveness and quality. Is it something you're seeing as well in Croatia and on the other part of the Balkans? Because, you know.
Well, I wouldn't say that is the case for Croatia. Croatia, regretfully, the cost of work is relatively expensive in comparison to the size of the market and the development of general economics. So it's we wouldn't be like the destination to outsource the works to. Perhaps I don't know. I know that the case in Bosnia is a destination for that, like for example Brčko district, which is a specific part of Bosnia which functions in a specific way economically. There is many companies that manufacture such, for example, furniture, stuff like that for Western market, but not in Croatia. We became kind of expensive for that, especially after we entered the EU and the Eurozone. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I want to ask Ivan, what is the balance between booking international acts versus supporting local talent, for example, in Exit? And how is that affecting the perception of the Balkans generally on the more international level? Because I don't think many people know any, or maybe most of the artists from our region, but they do exist, believe me. So could you please tell me what you think?
Regarding that, first I'll just in 2 sentences give you maybe a little bit insight what Exit is. Started almost 25 years ago, several times pronounced to be officially the best major European festival on European Festivals Awards. It happened twice, once on the UK Festivals Awards. So in this like 2.5 decade, Exit grew up from the student movement to one of the biggest festivals in Europe and further. And the size of it is like around 20-25 stages with different types of the music. With zones, it's like almost 40 stages and zones. So it's quite big. 200,000 visitors, and for 4 days, 50,000 per 1 day. So it's quite big, and with a huge, let's say, global international program with the headliners, with almost over 1,000 performers are on Exit. So in that massive scale of performers, we always have space for the local talents from Serbia and the Balkans. So I'm not sure about percentages, but they are significantly there. But have in mind that Exit is mostly the global brand. At the moment, we are like 65%, 66, 2/3 basically are international visitors. Only 1/3 is a local audience, and we have people coming from 120 countries from all continents. So Exit is by its lineup quite global, and it's not easy to, hit the tastes of so many nations all around the world and the local audience, where I count Serbian and Balkan. And there are, a lot of differences, like what is now popular in London will come to Balkans like in 2 or 3 years. And when it's popular in the Balkans, it's already not popular in this part of the world. So you're always try to balance it. Local talents are there. They need support. They need systematic, as you said, there is no export offices. Only Croatia started like 2 years ago something, but the other countries are not doing it. I would just like to also to mention about the prices of the performers, it's one thing which is jeopardize us all significantly because, you know, like 30 years ago, when you say one big band is going on the world tour, that basically meant like US, Canada, Western Europe, and Japan. That was like world tour. After 90s, like Eastern Europe joined, Exit was one of them, like in 2000. But now, like last 5 or 10 years, the whole world is opening. Like you are having like South America, Southeast Asia, Arab world, even you know, even Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is now doing big shows and festivals. And we know that like one performer who we paid like 80,000 got 800,000 in Saudi Arabia. Basically, they're just adding 10 on the standard fee, and globally, because you have limited number of the, like say, global talents who are prominent, and you have huge demand of this whole world coming up. So it's going to be very challenging for the Balkans with its stagnant economy to let's say, not stagnant, but we are still in a lack. And there are some projections when China finally opens that it will be probably jeopardize not Balkans but the whole Europe, because then the prices will be insane, because there is a demand of 1.5 billion of people with a rising buying power. And there is one joke: when you go to tour in China, you go there and you stay until the end of the life, because when you finish all cities above 1 million, it will pass few years so you can do another tour. So it's going to be, as I said, very dramatic in every sense for us all. But that's why we are counting on the Balkan creativity and general. We need to innovate. We need to put completely new concepts. I'm telling our team for years, we should definitely switch from the hard lineup to something else. Because we cannot, keep up with these prices in the future if trends continue. So, as you said, we have many advantages: the beautiful nature, Adriatic coast, the mountains, spas, Greece in the south, tremendous gastronomy, tremendous spirit of the people, rich cultural heritage. So I think in that, and creativity, of course. So in that, let's say, few major competitive, because Balkan is so beautiful, who have been is in love with it. So we can, combine the special venues with the gastronomy, with creativity, with the cultural heritage, and of course the hard lineup, in order to stay competitive.
I absolutely agree with what you said. With what you just said. Following on your point, first of all, I want to say that the Balkans are very stable economically. Yes, there's some issues right now with Romania, but the majority of the countries are quite stable in pretty much all senses. Even if you're looking at the at the elections, it's still we're still leaning more towards democracy. Now, on your note, we're seeing more and more collaborations. Venues are doing blog bookings. You just presented the project that you that was launched, presented just now. Kudruca, you've done a lot of international projects and a lot of networks. You are the president of the Promoter Association. How do you see this affecting in the future? Do you see the whole region kind of unifying as one? And how do you see the route to it? What could that bring, and how could that benefit both us and the rest of Europe, which can, have benefits of working in the region?
Well, I believe that's the way how the region will survive in this dynamic that comes so fast over us, by practically collaborating, making common offers, from smaller tours, growing bands, but also educating the audience, because I think that would be a key point to grow our local, because you asked earlier about the local bands. In Romania, the problem is that if you do a bigger festival, about 5,000 capacity, you need an international act to sell. I don't think there's any Romanian act which would sell more than 4,000 or 5,000 tickets, and that meaning in the capital probably. So at this point, we still need the international acts to sell festivals. But if maybe in a collaboration with the state in an investment in infrastructure and also in growing local or regional baby bands would be a benefit for our region, because we would, for example, like in Romania, to be able to book bands from Croatia or Serbia or Bulgaria. That could be significant for the region. So maybe we can look in the development also on a regional touring, not only a touring from the west to the east, because that would, how do you say, help our own bands grow up in our region, because as you mentioned, there's a lot of people in that particular region. So I believe the future will be only based on collaboration in order for us to thrive.
I also believe in this wholeheartedly. Before we move to having some questions from you, I want to ask each and every one of you, starting with Yaksa, how do you see the future for the festival economy in the Balkans? And not only about that, also audience engagement and experience. So we are talking about the festivals as businesses, but also how the audiences participate and engage, and how they, enjoy a festival. Why are they coming to the region and all that? But answer as you,
well,
as you feel it.
obviously, I'm not a fortune teller. I can't see the future, but one thing is obvious. There is a trend of festivals in the past 5 or 10 years or so. They've been starting to invest basically in the looks of the festival, the stages, the sponsor zones, the whole setup became richer, more attractive, more kind of creative and out of the box, which also attracts the new kind of audience, and of course festivals in the Balkans face more or less the same challenges and problems as the festivals in other parts of the world, and we are coping with that, I hope successfully, right?
Yeah, we're survivors.
Yeah.
Ivan, what do you think? What the future holds?
I'm basically, as always, optimistic because, in order to have a festival or event of big scale, you need people who really live with it. And I think we have it in our tradition, because Balkan hospitality is well known. I can speak in Serbia sense, but I think all or most of the countries in the region also follow that tradition, which goes back, I think, in pre-Christian period, when basically in Slavic traditions, like if you are having a guest coming who are visiting your house in the village and knock on your door and you don't know who is he, you need to give him a shelter and food, because they were believing that that is the spirit of your ancestor coming to visit you, and you cannot say no. I was studying that, and that because of that long tradition, it's keep going, and we really like to, our advantage that we really like to hang out. We really like to socialize among us, and we like to gather in groups. We have that collective spirit versus like this Western, let's say, more individualistic approach. And that's basically good for the events, for the festivals. That's basically one of the key ingredients. Because of this economic stuff, we were thinking to switch from 2/3, or usually it was 50-50, international domestic audience, to switch to 100% of domestic in order to charge tickets more. But we decided not to do that, because one of our, let's say, secret of success is domestic audience, which is super friendly, super engaging, welcoming, and people feel that. People feel that energy. That is for the music, for the arts, very important. Exit, not just, it has been announced to be a best major European festivals award by the voters of the audience and the jury. Also, we won the best European festival by the ranking of the performers, because they're also doing, they really feel the energy, the people are there, people are present, and also there is a psychological trick behind it that was also studied by psychologists. You know, in stable societies where the most are like Germany or other people are planning a lot in ahead, like 1, 2, 3, 4 years in ahead. In Balkans, because you don't know what will happen tomorrow, our planning is very short and our timeline is very short. So we are basically planning from today until tomorrow. And that's, which was basically in the terms of industry a minus, now is a plus. Because now whole world is coming to this power of now moment that you have to be present where you today. And we somehow have that naturally because we are not long in the planning. So that's superb for events. And I think that everybody who visits the Balkans basically feel that. They cannot explain it what it is, but as I said, we are doing a deeper research. And I think these are crucial advantages. And when you combine it with beautiful nature, with gastronomy, with cultural heritage, and people who are creative and a little bit lucid also, which is also good for the festivals, I think the future is bright. Only thing that we need is stability in terms not to have this geopolitical spillover from Ukraine or other conflicts. If we manage to keep that, I think the Balkan will be one of the top regions in the future for the festivals, for the events. We are having, Belgrade is a host of Expo exhibition 2027. It's the first time that I think one city from the region got this prestigious organization. So it's a big deal. So we are slowly getting there. Yeah, so only that we need the peace and stability and everything will follow.
Perfect. Kudruca?
Well, what I personally would hope in the future, because nowadays, for example, the Romanian festival culture is a very developed one. We have festivals from rock and roll, heavy metal to electronic music, very big festivals. And whoever have not been to a Romanian festival, I highly recommend, because they all are highly boutique. There's a lot of investment in how the festival looks, how the activations are and all that. What I would hope, and we as a company will try to focus a lot in the future, is trying to shift, at least for our audience, the focus from the glitter more on the focus on the meaning. Because in the essence, festivals, as they started, were a place for experimenting, for tolerance, for new visions. And many of them, unfortunately, got very much into an Instagram event. What we try now for our audience, and maybe we are lucky because one of our core projects, it's a rock festival, and the rock audience is more into music than like literally knowing who's the guitar player, who's the drummer. But I would hope that the festival will start again to be more about art, about music, and about deeper conversation, sometimes maybe difficult conversations, and creating a safe space. That's my hope for the festival future.
Beautiful. I resonate with that deeply. If you want to enter these markets, as I said, they are separate, but they're quite unified is what we're talking about, what we're working on, and the results are starting to be very present. So meeting these people, unfortunately, this is I think is it your first time here as well?
In Berlin?
No, not in Berlin.
No, you're at the festival.
Yeah.
First time. Yeah.
Okay, so we're first timers here, and I'm personally super impressed. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But if you want to see how things work there, you should come to one of the professional events, and there are quite a few, and they're really good. You can check out SHIP conference in Croatia. There is a Contact conference in Belgrade. We have our So Alive in Sofia. Kudruta, you're organizing an event in next June.
Bucharest, in May.
In May, I'm sorry.
Bucharest, the East European Music Conference.
East European Music Conference. There's Athens Music Week. Currently, right now, there's European conference in North Macedonia. So there are many professional events where you can go meet the locals, meet some people who are part of the music industry, not only from the festival industry, but people who are involved in production, people who are involved in manufacturing different stuff. Stuff is the word, I'm guessing. From merchandise and all that. I can think on top of my mind of a company, English company, that has their whole system and whole production made in Bulgaria. So if you're looking for opportunities to expand your business or to benefit from that, these are events you should visit, and they're easily found on Google. Also, what you said about the expo in 2027, Skopje is capital of culture in 2028. So there will be more opportunities to learn what you can, how you can tap into that market. Now, do you have any questions? And I really hope you do. No?
There's one there.
Yeah, wow, okay. I really don't like begging people to ask questions, but I'm pretty sure you should have, because there's, we're talking about I'm waiting for your microphone to be activated.
Hello? Oh, okay. There you go. I'm Kyriakos. I'm from Thessaloniki, Greece. I represent the Street Mode Festival. And I would like to ask all of our guests, how can two festivals work together? I mean, in the future, via a European program, maybe, with an individual act of the CEOs. How can they combine and collaborate?
This is a good question. I'm going to answer shortly, and then I'm going to leave the word for all of you. One idea that we had last year is, first of all, about block booking. I'll let someone else talk about that. But we were discussing with partner festivals at the same time happening as us to exchange set designs. So we limit environmental impact. We get our sets, and we actually did that with Doiran in Macedonia.
We always collaborate with Bulgarian festival because somehow to make it easier for the bands, in order to not have any, and no big band, Korn will never fly into Romania. So we needed to be practically on their routing between Bulgaria, Romania, Austria. So whenever we put an event, we always kind of set it up in relation to the like you're in the June area of touring for the bands, in the middle of or end July, beginning of August. So it makes it easier for them to collaborate. Otherwise, it's practically impossible to really, at least to book big bands. So this would be definitely one way if you would do a festival. Also, what we do with other festivals, not only on the routing, but also in collaborations, sorry if there's any agents, we really talk about the fees, because we try to understand if the agent is bluffing or it's really the market price. And second, we collaborate unbelievably well on a production side. In the European Festival Association, if we ever have any production questions or any health and safety, it's always exchanged within the group. So I think that we practically in Romania, when we started 20 years ago, we had there was no production knowledge, and all the knowledge we gathered was in exchange, and there's been always open within the European Festival Association to share information, or if you have a question or a problem that you can't solve, the production people from other festivals would help. So I would highly encourage you, if you're not in Europe, to get in Europe Festival Association.
Ivan?
I can just add, you already said some possibilities. I would just say that there's a huge possibilities in joint consortium with these European funds, like Creative Europe. We are already in several of these cooperations among Balkan countries and worldwide, and further in Europe, like Most and Hemi. Hemi was let's say, incubator hub for development of music scene in the Eastern Europe. Balkan in Eastern Europe, and most was like only most for the world music cooperation. So these and these funds are significant. These large-scale projects, they were around 4 million euros in 4 years, belongs for like 7-8 partners. So it really can boost exchange, and it's so wide that you can create, whatever you think. Is it is it cooperation in terms of booking and touring? Is it cooperation exchanging knowledge? Is it a cooperation in tourism development, talent development? There are a lot of opportunities. So we were with the Athens Music Week and Technopolis from Athens, for example, in Hemi project, and other partners. So, but I just must add, like, there is some, these terms, balkanization. That means like fragmenting the most you can fragment it. It's like became like global sense. It's also like Greece is always something somehow lacking from the region, because somebody invented this Western Balkans, which is like from Croatia, Bosnia to Serbia. Then you have Bulgaria, will probably be like Romania Eastern, and Greece will be probably
I don't know
south.
how we identify anymore.
And we are lacking on the North Balkans. So, but it's basically one.
That's Romania, the Northern Balkans.
But that's like that's insane, because it's like one region. So we should find a way how to communicate more and cooperate more. That's to overcome this curse of the Balkanization, and basically to be one great region.
I don't even know what the word balkanization really means, but I'll Google it. There's one more project I think it's important, and that one other thing it's important to note is that we're building capacity right now, and we're constantly encouraging young people to sort of engage in that. And we just joined a program called New Faces. It's ran by Ment Conference, one of the best conferences, I'd say, in Europe. It's in Slovenia, and it's between Serbia, Macedonia, Croatia, and Slovenia. And my joke at the time was, I'm very happy Bulgaria is joining ex-Yugoslavia, because we were never part of that. So it's about educating and creating capacity for young people under 30 years of age, learning how to work in the music industry, because contrary to Germany or any other European country, we don't have education for music business or music festivals and event production. It's something it's quite something we're working on, and I think that in the sense of collaboration is a great example of, we're trying to build the new generation of people who are going to be taking over our job eventually.
Yeah, Ruth, that's just the point. That's a little miracle, because we are having all these great events, but there is no education for event management. Like on any faculty, I think in Serbia probably wider. So it is, that's why it's growing completely organically, completely independent, what the government are doing, what the ministers are doing. So my thinking was, what will happen if we have this support? So this Creative Gate project will work on it to create the support, and then we can grow 10 times better than. Because I know with Exit, when we started like 25 years ago, we didn't know anything, and we have to learn everything by ourselves. The guys who are in production, they say they basically, figure out how to do something, and using like the big tours of, Live Nation, Madonna, when we hosted it in Belgrade. Rasko told me, the production manager, he was following Madonna production management and like writing down what he's doing. And like, ooh, this is nice. But that's how we basically created that knowledge. Yeah. No education, no support system. Do it by your own.
We're the kings and queens of do-it-yourself, kind of. Yaksa, I wanted you to also answer the question, because your business is not.
Yeah, I'm not a festival organizer. There's nothing much I can add to what my colleagues have said earlier, but I can tell you how easy it is to cooperate with a production company outside of Greece. You just Google us, send me an email, and then we'll do the rest and present you with the bill. You're gonna be very happy,
That works, right?
Yeah.
Anyone has more questions? Or I'm gonna just point you out. All right. So I hope that was kind of clear enough. But if you want to ask something more specifically, market size, economic, whatever, we were talking about a lot of different things. About the music in specific, feel free to do so. We're also going to stay a bit after the panel. Any closing thoughts, all of you guys? You want to share?
Well, everything I would like to say to any German investor, just despite of the maybe turbulences now existing in the region due to Russian influence, don't worry, Moldova and Ukraine will get in time, and Georgia in the European Union. So practically our country will be the center of the continent and of the routing. So the business potential within the next 10, 15 years will be huge, because there will be a huge market opening even to the further east. So just come and see how amazing it is.
Pretty much the same.
Come to the Balkans, taste the rakia, kebabs, burek, and drink with the people, and you will feel great. And visit our festivals, of course.
All I can say.
He can send you another bill.
Yeah, call us anytime. Anytime you need to cover something, we'll just be there. You know.
I'm joining the pool of people. It's again, if you haven't been, come and see it. We don't want to convince you at anything. The numbers are kind of speaking by themselves. You can check everything we claim here online. Of course, you're always welcome. The hospitality of the region, as all of us have already said, is quite high. Music is great. They're cool artists. Most of these artists you won't hear in Western Europe. That's a whole different topic, but we did this study last year. We verified it with the European Commission that it's kind of a systematic underrepresentation of the Balkan region within the European music ecosystem. We're not talking about the businesses, we're talking about the music, because people really see the Balkans as a stereotype of the, kind of the folkloric music, while in reality, classical music, jazz music came to Southeast Europe, to the Balkans in the early 20th century. So historically, we were not only the folklorish thing, and there's a lot of different music happening there, which is not equally presented in the rest of Europe. So check it out. There's some awesome, really awesome artists. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm Ruth, Jaksa, Ivan, Kodruca. For us, it was a pleasure. Hope we're going to see you back home in the Balkans.
Thank you so much, Ruth, Jaska, Kodruca, and Ivan. What an amazing talk. Thank you so much. I hope we see you soon.
Das war das Panel mit dem Namen
Unveiling the Balkans.
Wenn ihr Kritik oder Fragen habt, dann schreibt uns gerne unter www.futureoffestivals.com. Wir sehen uns spätestens am Donnerstag, den 27. und Freitag, den 28. November 2025 in der Station Berlin. Bis dahin.